Hi, I'm the Smoking Elk, and today we're doing hot and fast brisket. So, today we're going to be doing hot and fast brisket. This is the second time I've done it in the last week because, so last week had a beautiful brisket point, got the camera set up, it's all going nicely, everything's in shot. I filmed the preparation of the brisket, the trimming of the brisket, the rubbing of the brisket, setting up the Kamado Joe with how we're going to cook the brisket. So far so good. The brisket cook went absolutely amazingly. It was a beaut. So the brisket cook went really well. We sprayed it, we'd wrapped it, we've rested it for 2 hours. Oh, so far so good. Everything's all on the camera. You know, looking forward to a pretty good video. Now I've sliced into the brisket and oh man, it was one juicy ass brisket. Honestly, it's probably the juiciest brisket that I've cooked to date. I was so chuffed with it. So I've got the brisket. I'm showing how juicy it is. I'm showing the smoke ring. Like, oh man, this is the best brisket I've ever cooked. Look how juicy this is. Anyway, go to edit the video a day or two later, and I'm holding the brisket completely out of frame. And even when I take a slice of the brisket, again, there's no, the focus isn't on the brisket, it's on me. You can't see the brisket, and the end result was terrible as far as a video was concerned. So the good news is, what that means for you guys is I'm going to cook one again, and the good thing about that is we can prove that last week wasn't a fluke. We're going to hopefully do the same again in the same time. Last week's took 5 hours. We cooked it at 325 for 5 hours, so we're going to do the same again today. So let's crack on. So I've had a few requests to do a video on brisket, in particular UK brisket. So this is going to be that video. Now I've always cooked my briskets low and slow. You know, they're always a long cook, talking kind of 12, 15, sometimes 18 hours on some briskets. And I've read quite a bit. I've watched a bit about the hot and fast method. Now I was watching Baby Back Maniac, his YouTube channel, and he had a guy called Harry Sue, who's goes by the name of Slap Your Daddy Barbecue on the competition circuit in the US. And they did 3 briskets and they cooked them all hot and fast. So this method intrigued me, and I thought I'd give it a go on a UK brisket. I recommend doing a point. And the point is the fatty part of the brisket. You've got the flat, which is the lean part, and you've got the point, which is the fatty part. Now a lot of people use the fatty part for burnt ends. I'm going to be controversial here. I'm not a big fan of burnt ends. I don't really like anything sweet with beef. I like beef to be nice and savoury, peppery, lots of salt. And I also think the point is the best part of the brisket, because you get nice big fatty slices, soft, juicy, and the flavour's just unreal. Probably about the last 5 or 6 briskets I've cooked have all been points, and they've all worked out really well. Now, like I said, find yourself a good quality butcher. Ask for a grass-fed point if you can get it, or if you want to do a whole brisket, go ahead and do a whole brisket. I get mine from Philip Warren Butchers in Cornwall, and I've got to say I've cooked 3 or 4 of them to date, and they've all turned out incredible. So let's take a look at the brisket and how we're going to trim it. So here's the point. Nice grass-fed point. You can tell it's grass-fed. Got nice yellowy fat on there. We're going to trim a lot of this off. Going to leave some of it on, but we'll get to the trimming in a minute. But yeah, this is what you're looking for. So here is where the flat was. You can see that. That's the flat, and the flat joins the point around about here, which is the fatty part. So you get a bit of flat and a lot of point when you order a point. But yeah, that is what you're looking for. So on to the trimming of the brisket. Like I said, got a nice layer of this yellow fat here, and we're going to take a large amount of this off. We're going to leave about 1/4 of an inch, maybe not even that, fat on the top, but here we've just got a bit too much, so we're going to just trim away the gnarly bits. Don't matter if you go a bit too close, it's got enough fat in there to cope. So you've got this big chunk of fat here. You want to just take that off, because that's just going to, your rub's going to stick to it, and then you're going to, when it's done, you have to pull all that fat off, because you don't want to be eating that, and then you've lost your rub and you've lost a lot of the flavour. and that's the kind of sort of layer of fat that you're looking to leave on. We're good there. Let's go around to the bottom. Again, got this big chunk of fat here that you don't want to be eating, so I'm just going to take that off, let the knife do the work. A lot of it will just pull away, and that's just pulling away there, look, from the meat. So like I said, don't be too aggressive. I mean, all this stuff's fine. Just want to take out the big chunks that you're not going to want to be eating, because a lot of it will melt down, but a lot of this bigger stuff won't. So just cut it out. So next up, we're going to put the rub on. I'm going with this mocha rub by Marcus from Countrywood Smoke. I've not used it yet. Actually, that's a lie. I did use it last week on the video on the failed video that I've told you about, and it was bloody beautiful. I'd heard good things about it. I had to give it a go. So we're going to stick with what we did last week, and we're going to put this on. Now you can. Some people like to rub mustard or hot sauce or something over the brisket for the rub to stick to. I find that you don't really need to. I like to just get the rub over. And seeing as it is a rub it all in rather than just kind of sprinkle it on. Just put it on and rub it all in. So let's start along the edges. Trying to make sure every part gets covered. So along the edges first, and then I like to put it in one of these shakers. I feel it gives you better distribution of the rub. If you're going to do it straight out of the bag, then try and do it from a bit of a height, so it distributes more evenly. But if you have one of these shakers, they're really great. You get a nice even layer all over that beautiful bit of brisket. Like so. Add it in as you go. That way it's not going to come off when you flip it over. Don't be shy with it. Brisket can take on a lot of flavour and a lot of rub. When you don't have to completely cover it so you can't see the brisket. About what we've got there is what I like to put on. Flip it over. Do the same again. And we are looking good. One brisket rubbed up, ready to go. So we've got the Kamado Joe Big Joe. We're set up at about 310, 320F, so about 150, 160 Celsius. What we've done is we've loaded the firebox fully, put about 6 or 7 wood chunks in there, and we've brought it up to temperature slowly. We've had the bottom grate open, the top vent all the way open. Once it gets to about 275, we've closed down the bottom grate, the bottom vent to about 1 inch. We've moved the main vent, we've closed that, and we've just opened this up to on the third white line. But anyway, you probably have your own way of bringing your Kamado up to temperature. So this is, like I said, we're at about 320, which is perfect. This is where we cooked the brisket out last week. So we're going to go ahead and put it on. So the way we set up, we've got the heat deflectors in, and then we've got the accessory rack on the bottom level, and we've got a tin of water in there that the brisket's going to sit above. The reason I'm doing that is because we're cooking the brisket a bit hotter, a bit faster. What I don't want is the heat from underneath to dry out the bottom of the brisket or give it too much of a crust. So what we're going to do is, when you put your brisket in, if you don't want it pooling on the top, because you can get some of the liquid pooling on the top, use a couple of wood chunks, and all you do is put your wood chunk there, you brisket over it, and then you'll see that you create this heel, so no, you can't get any pooling. Again, another little one here, and there you go. So basically any liquid is going to run off, and we should achieve a nice even bark. Now I'm going to pop the lid down, and we're going to leave that for 2 hours, and then we're going to come back and see how we're getting on. By the way, guys, this is the kind of level of smoke that you want coming out the top of your Kamado Joe or your smoker. The video I did last week, there's a bit of a blooper in there that I might well put up here now. Basically, I'd brought the Kamado Joe up to temperature without putting the deflector plates in. So what's happened is once I put the deflector plates in, they've kind of suffocated the fire that's going in there, and literally the whole garden and probably next door neighbour's garden was filled with smoke, absolutely billowing out it was. So that was how not to do it. So remember, put your deflector plates in and then bring it up to temperature. This is about the right level of smoke you want coming out. You don't want thick grey smoke coming out. You either want this or you want it so it doesn't matter if you can't even see it. A lot of people make the mistake of if you can't see much smoke coming out, chuck some more wood in. I know I did when I first started smoking, and I absolutely ruined the chicken on my first ever smoke. So yeah, nice thin smoke that you can see there, or even none at all. So about 2 hours in, I'm running it between 300 and 325. What we're going to do now is wait for that steam to clear. Check this out. So we're 2 hours in, starting to form a nice bit of bark. What we're going to do now is give it a quick spritz, and this is just water. We don't really need anything else, just to keep it moist, and we'll probably do this every half an hour. For the next hour and a half maybe. We're going to take the temperature. When it gets to about 160, 165, we're going to wrap it. So 2.5 hours in, it's been chugging away here. About 300, 325 Fahrenheit, about 150, 160 degrees centigrade. And as you can see, nice bark starting to form in most places. We've been spritzing it every half hour. What we want to do, check the temperature, because when we get to 160 Fahrenheit, which is about 70 degrees centigrade, then we're going to wrap it. So we're at about 68 there, 70 there, we're going to wrap. So what we're going to do now is we're going to wrap in these in this butcher paper. We've got two pieces here, one in the opposite directions. And all we're going to do is tuck them both in there, tuck in the sides, and then flip. And that's it, wrapped. And then back in the Big Joe until we're done. I'm guessing another 2 to 3 hours, and we should be good and ready to rest. So we've probed the brisket. It's probing about 95 centigrade, which is about 195, nearly 200 Fahrenheit. So we've unwrapped it just to give it a proper probe, see if it probes like butter, and it wasn't quite there. So it's unwrapped. We've got a beautiful bark, smells amazing, and we're just going to give it the probe test again. So this is what we're looking for, and as you can see, it's going through all of this like butter. No resistance whatsoever all the way along here, but then when we get to here, it's still a little bit of resistance. Not too much, so we are nearly there. About another 20 minutes I reckon, and we're going to be golden. So this here, ladies and gents, is our finished brisket. Now let's get in and take a closer look, shall we? Let's get in there, have a little look-see. So, as you can see, beautiful bark on there, lovely colour. We're not done yet. As much as we'd like to dig in, we need to wrap this and rest it. And that's it. The brisket is cooked, the hard work is done. The even harder work now is waiting for it to rest. We need it to rest for at least an hour to let those muscle fibres relax, let it reabsorb the juices, let it stay juicy, soft, tender, succulent, moist. So we've done the hard part. We've prepped the brisket, we've rubbed the brisket, we've cooked the brisket. You might say that was the hard part. I'd say the hardest part is yet to come, because now this little bundle of joy needs to rest for at least an hour. It's taken us about 5.5 hours to cook from start to finish. and it's a 5 kilo point. Normally I'd expect this to take at least 10, 12, maybe 15 hours. We've cooked it hot and fast. We've cooked it at 325 throughout. First 2 or 3 hours we've cooked it unwrapped. After 2 hours we've started spritzing it with some water about 3 times. Took us to about 3.5 hour point, at which point it was probing at about 160 Fahrenheit, and then we've wrapped it in peach paper, butcher paper, and we finished it off until we've hit that actual temperature of about 98, 100 degrees Celsius, which is about 205, 210 Fahrenheit, I believe. So you can take these points further than the American points. In my opinion, they need to go a bit further. We're hoping we've got the same results as last week, because last week's was, oh man, so good. But we shall see. It's probing like butter. It's wrapped. We've got an hour to go. I'm starving. See you in an hour. 5.5 hours, hot and fast brisket. Been resting for about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half. Here's the big unveiling. Oh, if you could smell this. Oh God. Look at that. Oh man. Should we do this, guys? Should we dive in? I feel like we should. Just slipping through like butter. Let's hope this is juicy as last week's. There you go. You getting that? Are you getting that? Oh man. Wobbly. Juicy. And look at that. Look at that. So, don't know if you can see in this light. Lovely smoke ring along here. Got a nice bark. You can see how soft that is. Juicy. Smoke ring there. Oh man, we need to dive in. Let's get a slice off. As you can see, nice and soft. Big chunky slices. Let's give it a taste, shall we? I mean, you can see how juicy this is. Lovely brisket. Pulls apart. Now to taste. Oh my mate. I mean, look. Just look at these hands. Juice. Oh, sorry, but when it's this good, you need to go away, because I'm having a moment there. I'm having a real moment. It's juicy, succulent, moist. Yeah, I said it, moist. Brisket with a lovely bark, lovely smoke ring, lovely flavour, and moist. I've got to go. I've got to go and have a moment. So that's all for me this week. If you like the video, hit subscribe. Hit subscribe. Give me a like. Give me a comment. I will aim to get back to you. I'm off to have a bit of me time with this brisket. See you next time. Hello, is it me you're looking for? Oh, oops. Oh, you caught me having a bit of private time with my brisket and some jalapenos. What is going on? What the hell is going on? That with the candied jalapenos, some toasted sourdough. Look at this. Look at it. Can't believe you caught me. I'm off next week. See you later.